Yo, what's up Chasm crew, it's Frost and welcome to a brand new series, Explain My Clear. So today we're going to be clearing SN-S-5. So the way this series works, I clear the stages live on stream, I voice over here, and I explain them. So first off, let's look at the little handy components we will be using. We'll be using melee operators have 40% healing effectiveness. The reason for this is if you have a lot of defenders, a lot of ground units, your DPS is all ground units, you need this. Otherwise, if you're using ranged knights, whatever, just go with the second one. Hand of the Saint can remove Nether Brand. This is important. We have the enemies with dodge, and if they're on Nether Brand, they won't be blocked. You need to clear it. Next up, increased duration of stun, cold, and frozen. You honestly don't need the +1 block here. There isn't any enemies that really need it. And if you have somebody like W or Gnosis, you can crowd control the shit out of this boss in this entire stage. Nether Brand does 80% reduced arch damage to allied operators and no longer inflicts nervous impairment. The reason for this is you do not want your operators getting stunned by nervous impairment. You will only have one elemental medic on this team, and having any more will lower your DPS, and you don't want to deal with that. The other one, the rate of it which it spreads, it doesn't really matter since it's going to spread anyways. And then the last one depends on what your team comp is. If you have more snipers, again, take the second one. Otherwise, focus on your vanguards, guards, and so forth. Okay, now, here's the squad. We have Irene, who is covered by my face cam. I'm sorry about that, but that's all I can do. So we have Irene, skill 3. Reason for this, Irene can levitate enemies and ignore their defense. Well, 50% of it. Hoshiguma. Hoshiguma is a must if you're copying me, because Hoshiguma will stop the spewers from killing your team because they'll just kill themselves. Myrtle, you need a flag bearer vanguard to get your startup ready. Any DP on kill vanguard works here because you only need them to kill the boss and just heavy drop sometimes. Kal'tsit because monster true damage. W because she is the MVP here, stuns everything. Lappland, silence, get those lap dumps over there, bro. Then Thorns because he has a versatile range and arts damage on top of his physical damage. Nearl skill 3. This is because her skill 3 does true damage. However, keep in mind she has to block in order to do that, which is kind of difficult on this stage. So if anybody else, a better hella drop, anybody who does more damage, you can use them. Elemental Medic, Surtr, or some other sort of damage dealer who can do a lot of damage. And then Suzuran. The reason why I have Suzuran here is because Suzuran's skill 3 and talent makes it so the boss and all enemies within her range take 20% extra damage multiplier. Now, let's go onto the clear. First up, we're placing Myrtle middle lane. The reason why I'm not playing her far left is because we need that column empty, because if we have Nether Brand then, the dodge enemies will just go into the blue box. Use your DP on kill Vanguard to kill the boss. Lappland above Myrtle, facing downwards. Reason for this is Lappland and Thorns, facing up and down, will be able to handle those two lanes and also cover for each other if somebody leaks through. And the middle lane, when you activate Myrtle's skill, right here. But before I activate Myrtle's skill, I'm going to get Mulberry on the Lappland row. The reason why I'm not putting her on middle is because W will take that slot. Activate all skills you can, and wait for DP. Also remember to change the speed from 1 times to 2 times if you ever need to. Place W middle row. This way we'll have as much coverage for our bombs as possible. Okay, so from top down, we have, if the boss eats the top remain, he'll get res. Middle remain, he'll get 80% dodge. Bottom remain, +1 block, and double defense. Okay, so place Kal'tsit up top, and get your monster ready. Once you place monster in middle lane, to cover for Myrtle's lack of block. Now, monster will be facing downwards because the old man over at the bottom, with the double defense and +1 block, he's a bit of a hassle to deal with, especially if Thorn's skill isn't permanently up right now. Reason why I place Bagpipe right there is just to stall a bit more, since otherwise Thorn's HP is a bit too low and Mulberry would not heal him. Next up, place Suzuran and get ready for his skill. When the Nether Sea Predator comes by, you can activate monster skill if you need, but luckily W will be able to just stun him. Wait for the old man to come by, and monster Thorns will just kill him. Okay, now this is where it gets iffy, because it may change from my clear. The top Nether Sea enemy, the boss will either eat his remain or the old man at the bottom. So it's completely RNG on what happens, and you'll have to improvise from here. Now, good idea is to pause the game and see where the remains are and what's going to be eaten. In this case, he's eating my Lappland, and Myrtle can just die, nobody cares. Alright, wait a bit. Okay, now place Hoshiguma top lane. Reason for this is because you want Hoshiguma to stay there and block that lane. Place Surtr one tile in front and Irene in the back. Reason for this is because Surtr will be in the boss's range and be able to kill him with her skill. Irene behind because Irene's skill can just ignore like the dodge and all of that stuff because they'll be levitated. Technically counts as crowd control and ignores defense. Place anything you can possible on the boss to try and stall and do damage to them. Remember to use the Roombas on the back column to make sure it's empty and there's no Nether Sea brand. Because if there's Nether Sea brand, if you place any panic operators back there, the guys who can just phase through will just phase through. And that's a bit of an issue. As you saw a bit before, the bombs were really close. So those guys, if they weren't stunned by the bombs, they would just leak through. So keep in mind. So place Lappland after Surtr dies and just activate Suzuran skill once boss is in range. So you can get that damage multiplier and just try and destroy this boss as soon as possible. This phase is a bit pain. Everything from here is a bit simpler now. Alright, top down. We have dodge, +1 block, and then cannot be status affected or immune to slow or something like that. So obviously you don't want top and bottom together because that's a bit of a pain. So place monster where I did so you can deal with that dodge up top. Because you do not want the boss to eat the dodge because boss with dodge is so painful. So Lappland will luckily silence these enemies and you'll be able to kill them with your other operators. Worst case scenario, your W bombs on the back row will be able to deal with them. Now just wait for the enemies to come by. Activate Irene's skill so you can ignore part of this guy's defense and then bomb him to death. Alright, so right here I'm gonna use a Roomba. Honestly, just don't. Alright, save that Roomba. It's not gonna do shit. Okay, once the enemy comes in range, activate monster skill so he'll die instantly. Retreat monster. And then retreat your operators before they get eaten by the thing. Okay. Now place an operator to replace the ones who were killed. So you have that column. And then use the Roomba here to clear that back column. As you can see, there is another sea tile right below Surtr. And as soon as I use it here, it travels onto Surtr. That's not what you want. Activate Suzuran skill so the boss is now activated by the default. Now place monster up behind Hoshiguma just so if the Nether Sea Predator does get by, it'll be blocked by monster. Activate Surtr skill and just try and annihilate the boss. So here, as you can see, these Nether Sea Predators will try and leak past Nearl. So activate her skill 3. Although the W bomb took that place, luckily the W bomb stun just killed it anyways. Now retreat monster, you don't need him anymore. And honestly, after you kill the old man, just retreat all of your ground operators except Hoshiguma. Reason for this is because these Nether Sea Spewers will just shoot everything. And luckily with Hoshi's skill 2, they'll just kill themselves. So as you see, I retreat Bagpipe now. But I'm going to be brain dead and place Lappland. Lappland is going to die instantly. And nothing's going to change. Now, I'll retreat Nearl because I learned my mistake. And I'll just keep Hoshiguma down there. as these guys kill themselves. Once they all die, place Thorns or any ranged operator in the middle row so you can do range damage. Now, I place Monster in bottom row because that guy who's invisible right now, he does more damage the more he attacks. So keep that in mind. Also, top down, the remains are attacks 3 enemies at once, dodge, and does more damage the more it attacks. You do not want it to have the top and bottom together. It's a bit pain. So activate monster skill, kill the enemy on the bottom, and retreat monster. And wait for the 4th phase. Once your Surtr is ready, place her behind Thorns and get the skill ready. Luckily, W-Bomb will be able to deal with these Nethersea Predators. Now place Lappland below Thorns so you can get that silence. Activate Suzuran's skill. Wait before activating Surtr's skill so you can have maximum time. Once the boss's iframes are over, activate Surtr's skill. Activate all possible skills. Place monster in front of Lappland so something will be a meat shield for the damage that Lappland cannot take. Luckily, W bombs will just completely crowd control this stage. And once monster skill is up, activate it and it's game over. I place Nearl here because I think I needed the extra DPS, but I do not. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And also, if you guys are struggling, please look at the enemy descriptions and look at what their remains do, and just play around that. This is arguably the easiest stage in this event, because you should know the mechanics by now. If you don't, time to learn. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Peace!